Hello guys, how are you? Welcome to another video. Last week I was doing FreeCAD as my first topic for this Industry 4.0 for everybody, but today I'm going to start with embedded Linux. I have this very awesome embedded Linux board named Orange Pi 0. I'll show you here on the screen. The Orange Pi 0 is here. It's made by a company called Songlong or Shunlong in China. It's a very old card, but I like it because it has a lot of analog outputs that I like to use. It's got an ARM 32-bit processor called the H2, All-Winner H2. And this particular model has 256 megabytes of RAM, but there are those available with 512. Today we're going to use with the one with the least memory. I have made some instructions on how to set up this board to run Linux, so I'm going to switch to that page. It's here in my GitHub, github.com/Roberto J. Guerra, Orange Pi 0, full setup. First, I'll show you what hardware you need to do this experiment. So I will switch to my camera on my desktop. Nice. And the first thing we need is the serial cable. Here is a serial cable. You can buy it in Amazon. This is not the only model you can get, but this is the cheapest by far. Try to get several because sometimes these cheap serial USB converters can get burnt, so you better get a backup. The next thing we need is the Orange Pi 0 board itself. There it is. This particular model has some pins soldered on the 26-pin connector, but most of them don't. So don't worry if you find Orange Pi Zeros that don't have these pins, because that's the most normal way of getting it. The next thing we need is the micro SD card. This is 16 gigs. Even though it reads 8, it's actually 16. A micro SD writer. This came with my 3D printer, but I use it for many more things. And another thing is the USB power cable. Here it's already attached to connected to my computer USB port to provide power. And this is a fancy, not so fancy, but very cheap, but it has a blue LED that tells me that the power is connected. 5 volts available. In my GitHub page, you can find the places where you can buy the Orange Pi 0 and the USB serial converter. The next thing we need to do is to download and install the Armbian operating system. Here we have, you need to go to this address, armbian.com Orange Pi 0. The main OS that they are showing is the Armbian 23.5 Jammy, but I like Debian better than Ubuntu, So I'm going to go lower here and I'm going to download Armbian Bookworm Minimal CLI. It's a smaller download. So here we go. Here you can see that it's downloading quickly in my house. Let's give it a minute. "26 seconds left." And it's done. Now we need to use Balena Etcher. Balena. Oh, and I don't have it installed, so I'll pause this video for a second. Okay, I have downloaded and installed Balena Etcher. You can find it in etcher.balena.io. Download Etcher. So let's use it. Let's return to the instructions and let's use Balena Etcher. And let's select the file that we have just downloaded. Downloads. Here's the file. Armbian 23.5.2 Orange Pi 0 Bookworm current Linux kernel 6.1.30. Open. Select target. And we will connect the microSD, insert the microSD in the reader, and we will connect the reader into the USB port. And I have this USB extender here that is connected to my computer. And it appeared there. Oh, it's actually 80 gigabytes. So let's use that. Select and flash. We need to enter our root password. It's decompressing. Here we see the PC is writing the operating system into the microSD card. And it has completely written the image. Let's disconnect it. And now let's connect the microSD card in the Orange Pi 0. Okay. Let's see the instructions. This part where it reads Armbian first run.txt.template is not working right now, so If you try it and it doesn't work, don't be surprised. It should be fixed pretty soon. So now we need to connect the serial cable to the serial port in the Orange Pi. Blue, green, and yellow. Okay, and this end I will connect to this USB port in my keyboard. My keyboard is an old Apple keyboard that has a USB hub inside, so I can do this. Okay, we have three options: the serial port, Ethernet, or Wi-Fi if you cannot use cables. I don't recommend Wi-Fi because it's sometimes it's very slow, but sometimes if you can configure your router, then you can make it work. Okay, now let's connect with the serial port, and I have this terminal, and the command to connect through the serial port on the USB adapter is screen/dev/tty USB 0 115200, and here the PC is connected and it's just waiting for the Orange Pi 0 to send some characters. And there we go. Let's make this bigger. It's starting the kernel. We're not going to need the micro SD anymore, or this cable. Now we're just waiting for the kernel to start. Okay, then the operating system was programmed to log in automatically at the first time. It's going to do an important task. This is to expand the file system to all the available space in the micro SD. Now it asks us to create a root password. I'll make my own password, and you guys choose a secure root password. Now, to create a user account, enter your username and enter a password. Make it different from the root password. Enter your real name, Roberto. Set user language based on your location. To make this quicker, I'm gonna say no. And I'm going to tell it not to generate locales. And locales are translations of the operating system to different languages. And it's already booted up. it's logged in as root, but I'm going to exit because I like using it as a user. Okay, so we are logged in for the first time here, and I'm going to check quickly about the file space. Here we have the dev mmc block p01, which is a partition on the mmc card. The mmc card is another name for micro SD card. And the total size of the partition is 7.2 gigs, and it's used 12% full. Okay, let's keep going. So once connected, okay, let's handle some other details. If you want to use Ethernet, then you will have to connect it to your home router with Ethernet cable. This is coming from a switch that comes from my room's room router, Wi-Fi router. So I'm going to connect it. And let's see if we get any IP. So look at previously, the IP box has nothing. And now if I type IPA, we see that the Ethernet D0 is now 192.168.1.143. So let's ping some this public DNS server, and there it is. It's talking to it. And if we want to use Wi-Fi, then we need to do sudo nm_tui. It means Network Manager Text User Interface. Password. Oh, I forgot. I need to use my own user password. So we now activate a connection. Okay, let's try it in another way. Let's make this smaller. Okay, now it looks better. Okay, the Wi-Fi is not working. Maybe it's because of the specific version of the OS. But it's okay because it's Wi-Fi is pretty slow. I'll make another video on how to get the Wi-Fi back. Look, we have this IP address, which would be more convenient. It would be more convenient to connect via SSH. I have this other terminal window, and I'm going to SSH to that new address, SSH Roberto at 192.168.1.143. Yes to continue connecting, and user password. Alright. Now we are connected via the serial port and via the network, the hardwired Ethernet network. And the next thing we need to do after setting up a new embedded system, a new Linux embedded system, is to update it. and this is done with sudo apt update. At this point I can disconnect the serial port. Control AK to disconnect from the serial port, and we disconnect it. And now we keep looking at the terminal through the SSH connection. And the next thing is to do an upgrade of all the packages. I'm going to pause the recording. Init ramfs. This ramfs is the file system that lives in RAM when the kernel first boots. It contains the drivers that Linux needs to talk to all the hardware peripherals in the Orange Pi. Okay, now it has made the initial RAM disk and saved it in the boot partition. And now it's done. And now we need to reboot it. Okay, now it's rebooting and it has closed the connection. And let's start pinging it and see when it comes up again. Response. Oh, there it is. It's responding. So let's try to connect with SSH. Yes. Okay, and now we have completely updated our Orange Pi 0 with Debian bookworm and Linux version 6.1.30 dash Sangchi. Oh, well, I'm going to stop this video. I'm going to start preparing for the next thing I will show you, which is to use some video and audio coming from this board. Thank you. See you in the next video.